Welcome on in to episode 18 of the New World Top 5 Fights. If you have an awesome clip that you want to see in the top 5, you can send that to Kristofer at PvPnewWorld.com. This is the first episode since the new patch, so there are going to be some cool builds here. Starting us off today, we've got Nyce Gaming playing Sword and Shield Greatsword inside Arena, and the match starts not so great for his team. Just like that, Nyce finds himself 3v1, but he opens up with the Sword and Shield on the first player, hits him with the stagger, and then he switches to the Greatsword and starts swinging heavies. As soon as the enemy players start being aggressive, Nyce gets that counter up, putting him in defiant stance, and then he gets the poke with the steadfast strike as well, and then he just starts whipping these heavies out, and these guys are just attacking his block. Nyce putting so much damage in. He's not running the perk that puts him in the onslaught stance when he gets those heavies, and he's able to bait out a massive amount of damage and just combo that guy down. And then Nyce just very quickly trying to heal up with his potions. The enemy players keeping the pressure on him. And I gotta say, guys, this is maybe one of the most slept on things in Greatsword, and the Serenity does such a good job with it. There you see again, he just attacks until they go for the counter, and then he hits that counter stance, knocks the enemy player back, and then he just whips out those heavy attacks, going for the spin into the onslaught attack at the end to finish him off. And now Nyce has got a single opponent twice in a row. He just turns that fight around with that block. And this enemy player very cautious to engage, even though Nyce is pretty low on health here. Trying to hit him with the Great Axe, and Nyce just keeps swinging those heavies. There he lands the poke, getting some stand back, and then he goes for the spin to put himself in the onslaught stance. Almost lands that heavy attack, but the enemy player just able to get away with the fire staff. But Nyce is going to get right back on top of him, just keep feeding him pokes with the sword, and we know what's coming. There's the hard stun. He goes to the Greatsword, hits that heavy attack, and just starts swinging heavies. Tries to get the stagger. The enemy player has grit up when he goes for that combo, and and this fire staff player trying desperately to escape. Nyce did connect with the Greatsword there, and now this guy is out of stamina. Nyce also out of stamina. He pops his ultimate to get the healing power that he needs. And there he lands the poke, getting that stagger off, and there's the first heavy into the second, and that guy gasses his stamina. A really great fight, and of course, if you guys want to see a build video to that guy, there is a link down below. Now, moving on to the next fight, we have got VexxPK, and he is playing with that Abyss Great Axe and Void Gauntlet, and he has got two enemy players on top of him. One ended up going down. The second player takes massive damage from the Void Blade, and then Vex finishes him off with the Great Axe, and then right away into the Gap Closer to break a little bit of distance and heal up. And this guy tries to get him with the Gravity Well, doesn't end up working. And then Vex turns around, he puts a bit of damage in with the Void Gauntlet, getting a little bit of healing there too. He tries to land the Gravity Well, unfortunately only catching one enemy player in it. And Vex is able to slip out with that Great Axe charge. The grit, so useful. And he heals back up. And then he turns around, it looks like 4 enemy players pursuing him. Vex just puts a little bit of damage in, landing that heavy attack with the Void Gauntlet, and then he turns around again. It looks like just 2 have actually pursued him here, and he gets a great combo with the Great Axe off on this guy. Unfortunately, unable to get the finish before the enemy player's stam gets back up, and Vex taking quite a bit of pressure from the Ranger as well, but he has the tree for the line of sight, and he's just trading well with the Void Gauntlet here. Tries to get the pull on the Great Axe. Unfortunately, this guy just out of range, but he does land that light attack. Down he goes. And now Vex has got just the enemy archer left, and this guy is right inside of that Gravity Well. Vex putting big damage on with the Void Gauntlet. There's the pull, and he's trying to land that last light attack. Doesn't get the scream. He's just out of range, and Vex throws the ranged attack, the orb on the Void Gauntlet. Does manage to connect, but the archer is healed up enough now. And Vex just pounds his heels, and he finds himself in kind of a tricky situation here. He either has to get to cover or jump on top of this archer. He does with the Great Axe, getting great damage, and there's the Reap to finish him off. And Vex is just going to heal up a little bit more, turn around, try to throw down the Gravity Well. This guy ends up going to the side, and Vex unfortunately eats that stun. He bounces back, and then he lands with the Void Gauntlet into the Void Blade, and he goes for the ultimate here, trying to get that finish. Huge explosion. This guy almost going down. And Vex switches to the Great Axe, gets on top of him with the Gap Closer. There's the Reap. He's so close to dead. There's the last light attack. He brings him down, and Vex just about makes it to the end of the game, and he ends up going down. Really cool build, great fight again, and if you guys want to see that build video, there's a link to it down below for you guys. Now moving on to the next fight, we have got Lord Gank playing some Fire Staff and Great Axe. This is one of the most popular builds this patch, and it's for that insane mobility and damage that it has. This greatsword player trying so hard to stay on top of Lord Gank, and he's just feeding him damage with the fire staff. Tries to get him with the Reap, but he was pretty out of range there, and Lord Gank manages to get the finish though with the pillar as the enemy player tries to turn around and charge. And now he's got just one enemy player left here. This guy throws down the gravity well. Lord Gank goes through him with the fire staff, starts feeding him those heavy attacks. There's the pillar again, and this guy is out of stamina. Lord Gank goes for the gravity well, and this guy ends up going for his gap closer to sneak out of there. He does land the Reap on him, but unfortunately Gank gets hit by the counter stun. And I love that gap closer. He goes out and back in again. I think he was trying to land that damage on the distance that you can get on it. Unfortunately missed, but he keeps the pressure on this guy with the fire staff. Another enemy player coming in here as well, and it looks like that is a fire staff great axe player coming in too, and Gank just doing his best to try to keep the pressure on the melee. The enemy player goes to hide behind this pillar. Gank goes to get on top of him. Unfortunately eats the hammer stun, but he turns around and lands a great gravity well, catching all three players in it. Gank goes for his ultimate, and unfortunately doesn't manage to get the kill on anybody with that combo, but a lot of players very low health here. He tries to get the Reap. The enemy player just able to avoid it, and Gank sneaks out of there with his gap closer with almost no health left. And he's got two players that are still pursuing. It looks like the other two are going up to the left. This guy ends up splitting off on his own. Gank getting great damage with the fire staff. And then he lands that gravity well, goes for the Reap. The burns almost bringing him down, and a poke with the fireball. He goes down. And then Gank goes for the gap closer through the last enemy player. He's so low on health, but he manages to get the LOS, heal up. And there's a connection with that heavy attack. He goes for the fireball. Nice damage again. And this guy's very close to dead. And a nice shot around the corner. He ends up going down. Great fight from Lord Gank. Now moving on to the next fight. We have got Derrek 2 Uber playing the Abyss and Ice Gauntlet setup. And he's doing a bit of an open world fight out here. He's got two enemy players on top of him. The first enemy player, he gets pretty low on health, throws down the ice shower, and there goes the pylon. Switch to the great axe, big damage on that heavy attack, and then he does get this guy in Reap range. The enemy player goes into his ultimate to survive, and I love it. Derrek as well goes into his ultimate to avoid taking that stun, and he sticks to him with the great axe, and the other player in the back ended up getting KO'd by the monkey. Oh my god, what an assist. And Derrek's just going to put in the pressure with the great axe. There's the execute, the Reap, and the next guy goes down. Love seeing that monkey combo. Moving on to our final fight of the episode, we have got Danzo playing some Fire Staff and Rapier, and this build is crazy this patch. This might be the best patch for Fire Staff Rapier yet. I know you guys, I say that every single time, but yeah, Danzo plays it really well, and he has a crazy good fight for you guys here. Opening up on this first player in OPR, he gets great damage with the Rapier, switches to the Fire Staff, tries to land that Fireball. The enemy player moves to the left, ends up avoiding it, and Danzo finds himself under a lot of pressure here. He goes for the Burnout, trying to land that combo. Unfortunately, this guy able to survive his heavy attacks. Danzo taking big damage from the Great Axe player, but he switches to his Rapier just in time, gets the riposte, and the Great Axe player goes for his Fire Staff. Big damage on that. Danzo goes for his ultimate into the evade. There's the heavy attack. He doesn't manage to connect, but he is able to survive, and he is staying on that Great Axe player. Oh my god, he lands that heavy. There are the burns taking that guy down, and Danzo's going to shift his attention to the archer up top here. He's just been shooting at him this whole time. It looks like he's got a blunderbuss player on his tail here too. And Danzo goes into the trees, a little bit of a weave, and he just waits around the corner. Ooh, takes a nasty shot from that arrow. He's very low on health here. The enemy archer unable to connect. Danzo again just manages to survive. He dodges the AoE as well, and then goes for the gap close with the Rapier back behind another tree, and he throws down the heavy attack into the Fireball. He does manage to connect on the player that followed him here, and he goes for the Burnout right away. Danzo's so aggressive even when he's very low hit points. He gets great damage off on that player. The enemy player switches to his Blunderbuss. Danzo gets great reads with his Rapier, and he sticks right to him, just feeding him those evade cancels. There's the flesh to finish him off, and the other enemy player jumps on top. Danzo goes for the AoE off the Fire Staff, baiting into the riposte, managing to get that counter stun. This guy caught with no stamina. Oh my god, what a fast combo. 2 players going down, and Danzo's got the third on top of him here. He goes for his big Fire Staff AoE, trying to get this guy to back up a little, and there's a nice catch on the riposte. He gets good damage off of that, managing to avoid a lot of the damage from that incoming combo as well. And there's a beautiful connection on the Fireball. The burns again, taking the enemy player down. And oh my god, he spent that whole fight at like a third of health or less. Danzo manages to take it home. Then he comes back up to the top here. More enemy players just kind of pouring out of here. And he follows this this guy here, an enemy healer, sticking right on top of him with the rapier, feeding him that damage. The healer throws down his Void Gauntlet. I like Danzo. Great read. Rolling back. Doesn't want to feed him that health. And then he gets the riposte right away and then just follows it up with big damage on the rapier. Oh my god, he's all over this guy. That guy ends up going down. And Danzo just quickly heals up, heads back towards the fight here, and he finds himself engaging with this other rapier player. Rapier and musket. Oh my god, a nasty combo with the rapier. That guy just goes down so quickly. I think he might have eaten a stray arrow there as well, but Danzo just putting huge damage in these guys as they come out. Another player going down. And now Danzo's going to jump on top of this stack here and just try to put the damage into this enemy tank player. He gets behind him with the rapier, just starts feeding him damage. This guy just goes into holding that block. And I actually think that was the Calamity counter. The animation just wasn't there. Danzo does get the riposte on it, though. And there's the counter with the Fire Staff for that stagger. And Danzo finds himself taking quite a lot of damage from all the ranged players coming out of here. So he backs up, managing to get a little bit of line of sight, but now this Greatsword Sword and Shield player is right on his tail. I like that stagger, though, just turning it around right away on that guy, and then he just does a little bit of fencing with that player, and then switches the pressure to the Ranger up top. I like that choice. The Ranger's going to put a lot of damage into him, and that does manage to coax the Ranger down here, and Danzo just gets on top of him with the rapier. This guy's out of stamina. Oh no, that's such a big mistake. Danzo putting huge pressure with the punish there, lands the Fireball into the AoE. That guy ends up going down, and so unfortunate. Danzo just gets clipped at the end. Beautiful fight, though. And for our final clip, the bonus clip today, we have got Hodge666 playing Fire Staff and Great Axe. Hope you guys enjoyed this last clip as I say goodbye. Again, a massive thank you and shout out to everybody who sent those clips in. If you guys want to check out anybody featured in today's episode, you can find links to them down below. Quite a few of these guys have builds to the setups they were playing, so yeah, give it a look. Of course, if you want to send in your own clip for the top 5, you can send that to Kristofer at PvPnewWorld.com. If you want to catch the odd live stream from me, there's a link to my Twitch down below for you guys too. And I've got a ton of different builds on my website, PvPnewWorld.com, so you guys can check those out if you want to find some PvP builds. A big thank you to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. They can help keep you safe on the internet, and you guys can get a deal with them thanks to the link down below. And last but not least, as always, a massive thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon, whether you guys are supporting now, whether you've supported in the past. Thank you so much for keeping the show going. Thank you, everybody, just for tuning in and watching. I hope you enjoyed. I am excited to put out some more top 5s, so if you have some awesome clips, please don't be shy. Send them my way. And as always, have a great night, everybody, and I will see you next time.